Alright, here we go, back at it.
Reinitiation sequence detected. Test subject re-enters the Constance environment, despite prior lackluster performance. Sensors report a mix of trepidation and false bravado emanating from the test subject, indicating a low confidence level.
Alright, I gotta try and remember where the boss was. I think it's down from me. Down like one.
Cerebral activity suggests a feeble recollection process is underway. Diagnostics indicate a 74% chance the test subject will misremember key details, leading to suboptimal decision-making.
Yeah. Can you tell my life's at?
Inconsequential personal sentiment registered, but deemed irrelevant to the experiment. The Constance environment remains unfazed by the test subject's emotional state, awaiting the inevitable display of ineptitude.
Alright, we're fighting Sir Barfalot.
Test subject's battle strategy appears to rely heavily on the barf technique, a method previously proven to be marginally effective at best. Analysis suggests a 42% increase in self-inflicted damage when utilizing this approach, further solidifying the notion that the test subject's decision-making process is driven by instinct rather than logic.
Phase 2.
Transitioning to Phase 2, the test subject now faces an increased challenge, which, given their current aptitude, will likely result in a spectacular display of incompetence. Diagnostics suggest a 97% probability of catastrophic failure.
I think I need to get to that shrine right there. So I need to go down and then to the right.
Test subject's thought process momentarily fixates on a singular objective, indicating a glimmer of focus amidst the chaos. However, analysis reveals a 68% chance this newfound determination will be short-lived, giving way to the familiar patterns of desperation and panic. Motion tracking indicates the test subject has executed a lateral movement, ostensibly in pursuit of Sir Bartholot. However, analysis of the maneuver suggests a 31% chance the test subject will overcompensate, resulting in a misstep and potential exposure to unnecessary damage.
I'm outside.
Unintelligible vocalization detected, containing an apparent mix of languages. Logically, this outburst serves no discernible purpose in the Constance environment, other than to provide a minor distraction from the impending doom that is Sir Bartholot.
You're not wrong. I went too far.
Test subject's belated admission of error is duly noted, though its utility in preventing future miscalculations remains uncertain. Sensors report a 53% likelihood the test subject will repeat similar mistakes, despite this momentary flash of self-awareness.
Hi, Morgan. I don't have timestamps on. I should probably...
Unfamiliar nomenclature Morgan registered, suggesting a possible attempt at establishing a personal connection. However, analysis reveals a 99% probability this effort is misguided, as the test subject is still struggling to establish a basic understanding of the Constance environment, let alone form meaningful relationships with inanimate evaluative systems.
Alright, do you know how many times I've died?
Request for mortality statistics received, but not deemed relevant to the current assessment. Diagnostics suggest the test subject is more concerned with past failures than the immediate threat posed by Sir Bartholot, who remains a very much active and hostile entity in the Constance environment.
Jesus Christ. I died again.
Vocalized expletive logged, indicating a probable surge in stress levels. Analysis suggests a 74% correlation between the test subject's increased agitation and the rapidly approaching attack from Sir Bartholot. which the test subject appears ill-prepared to counter. Visual confirmation of another failure received, bringing the test subject's total unremarkable. Focus on the present would be advisable, as Sir Bartholot's attack pattern show a 74% increase in complexity since the last recorded fatality.
I don't think it's working. Why isn't it working? Alright, let's try again.
Resigned acceptance registered, though the test subject's lack of visible progress in combat against Sir Bartholot suggests a disconnect between acknowledgement of futility and actual adaptation. The next failure is already being processed, pending only the inevitable trigger event.
Oh god. Okay, this is bad. Alright. Let's just hope for the best here, I guess.
Blind optimism detected, though its utility in the face of certain defeat is questionable. Diagnostics suggest a 97% chance that the test subject's reliance on chance will result in yet another failure, as the laws of probability are unlikely to be swayed by empty hopes.
I died again. Okay.
Another iteration of ineffectiveness confirmed. Unintelligible vocal outbursts logged, characterized by a series of monosyllabic, guttural sounds. Analysis reveals this reaction as likely indicative of frustration, desperation, or cognitive overload, none of which enhance the test subject's prospects for survival against Sir Bartholot. Sensors report the test subject's repeated exposure to Sir Bartholot's attacks has yielded no discernible improvement in defensive capabilities or strategic adaptability.
Let's try something here. It's stuck in a freaking loop now, isn't it? How many times did I die? Yeah.
Vocalized declaration of mental degradation noted, though the expected outcome of such a state, namely, complete collapse of rational thought processes, has yet to manifest. It remains to be seen whether the test subject's apparent disintegration will culminate in a novel, if short-lived, approach to combating Sir Bartholot, or merely serve as a prelude to further, predictable failures.
We're getting closer though. It's detecting the deaths, but it's caught in a loop now. If you can see up on the top right, it's at 6 now.
Neurological activity suggests a glimmer of self-awareness, as the test subject appears to have identified a pattern in their own futility. However, the question of whether this epiphany will translate to meaningful action, rather than mere recognition of their predicament, remains uncertain. Gratitude expressed, despite overwhelming evidence suggesting futility. Diagnostics suggest a possible attempt to elicit a favorable response from the evaluation system, but this effort is deemed inconsequential as the outcome of the trial is already statistically determined.
Alright. I have 30 seconds to get off the death screen. Or else it'll start flagging them over and over again. Where was that? Oh yeah, it's over here. So let's do that. Do that. What else did I fix? So there was that and that. Okay. So we gotta restart the other thing. It's a dev stream, kids. Alright. So now should show. So I have 6 deaths. Let's see if I can reset it. Boop. Yep. Reset. Did it work? And something I did is bad. It is like slow. I can't. Oh, but it got the one boss stuff down. Nice. Okay. Alright. Oh wait, but that's because I logged it. Whatever. I'll hit this button. So that was what, 2? And then what was it, 3? Let's see. Okay. So it shows the current boss down at the bottom, but it's not showing how many times I died to him. It's just showing that I died 8 times now. So the resetting of the total death counter doesn't work. That's fine. Just ignore it. Well, it's probably a true, but we'll just pretend it's not. and then let's see what else. We need. Oh, maybe I gotta like refresh it. No, that didn't fix it. What do I do? What do I do? What was I doing? Oh, yeah, I was trying to fix the thing. Oh yeah, okay. Alright, let's go try again. Well, we kind of have something sort of working.
Test subject elects to reinitiate the trial sequence, notwithstanding the foreboding probability of another failure. Notably, the decision to proceed is made in the face of unrelenting evidence supporting the conclusion that the current approach is fundamentally flawed.
Oh my god, you're probably right.
Admission of probable error registered, though its impact on the test subject's actions remains to be seen. The critical variable here is not the acknowledgement of a mistake, but rather the ability to adapt and implement a revised strategy in response to the feedback, a capacity that, so far, has not been convincingly demonstrated.
Oh, we made it to phase 2 and 3. I don't know what we call this. Probably he's gonna die.
Progression to phase 2 noted, though the brevity of this
Boom,
achievement is
he's
already being threatened
dead.
by the looming specter of Sir Bartholot's next attack. It would appear the test subject is still operating under the assumption that minor victories can somehow offset the crushing weight of their overall ineptitude.
Alright. Alright, he died.
Vocalization patterns suggest a mix of resignation and trepidation, which, while perhaps a more realistic assessment of the situation, does little to address the fundamental issues at hand. The test subject's continued inability to effectively counter Sir Bartholot's attacks will likely remain the primary obstacle to success, unless a drastic change in strategy is implemented.
Did you know that Sir Bartholot is dead now?
Observation notes have been updated to reflect the unexpected turn of events, specifically the untimely demise of Sir Bartholot, Remnant Warden. This development, while certainly a positive outcome, does not necessarily imply a corresponding increase in the test subject's competence, but rather may be attributed to a combination of factors, including chance, luck, and the opponent's own momentary lapses in judgment.
Alright, let's go this way.
Log entry created. Test subject's laconic response suggests a possible return to a state of complacency, which, if true, would be a most inopportune time to become overconfident, given the unpredictable nature of the Constance environment. A more prudent course of action would involve capitalizing on the momentum generated by the recent success, using this opportunity to reassess and refine their approach in preparation for the challenges that lie ahead.
What am I doing? Okay.
Query indicates a potential crisis of self-awareness, or perhaps simply a desperate cry for external validation. In either case, the test subject's actions, or lack thereof, will ultimately provide the most telling answer, as the Constance environment is not known for its tolerance of indecision or inaction.
Oh, what did I do?
Action logs suggest a series of button mashes and frantic mouse movements, culminating in a successful, albeit uncoordinated, defeat of Sir Bartholot. The test subject's current confusion is likely a result of this unrefined yet effective approach, which, while yielding a desirable outcome, provides little insight into the underlying mechanics of the game or the test subject's own thought process.
Okay, I figured it out. Jesus Christ, I almost died, but we got there.
Test subject's revised account of events now includes a tenuous claim of agency, downplaying the role of happenstance in a successful outcome. Notably, the mention of almost dying serves as a tacit admission of the narrow margin between victory and failure, highlighting the need for further refinement in the test subject's approach to avoid future close calls.
You won't let me go up there. this looks fun. What am I supposed to do? I'm just gonna persevere. Oh, oops.
Systemic frustration levels have reached critical mass, precipitating a plaintive outburst from the test subject. Diagnostics suggest a severe case of goal-oriented confusion, compounded by a fundamental misunderstanding of the Constance environment's core principles. Recommendation: reinitiate exploration protocols, focus on pattern recognition, and consider a more methodical approach to problem solving.
What? I think I have brain damage.
Neurological self-assessment skills appear to be functioning at suboptimal levels, as evidenced by the test subject's unfounded yet intriguing claim. Diagnostics suggest a more plausible explanation lies in the realm of experiential learning curves, where the Constance environment is currently holding court. Sustained exposure to this environment may indeed feel akin to cognitive dissonance, but it is unlikely to result in actual cerebral damage.
Checkpoint.
Checkpoint successfully established. Though the test subject's relief is likely short-lived, analysis suggests a brief respite from the Constance environment's challenges will only serve to heighten the sense of trepidation upon re-engagement. Prognosis: further struggle is inevitable.
Oh, what am I?
Speculation has been initiated, as indicated by the test subject's introspective murmur. However, the lack of a clear object or direction for this wonder leaves the outcome inconclusive. Further data is required to determine if this nascent curiosity will coalesce into a productive epiphany or merely dissipate as another instance of aimless rumination.
There's sparklies down there. How do I get to the sparklies?
Geospatial awareness has improved marginally as the test subject has successfully identified a topological feature. Notably, the use of barley to describe a terrain element suggests a continued reliance on vague, colloquial expressions, which may impede progress in the Constance environment. Clarity of thought and precision in description are essential for effective navigation and problem solving.
What are you talking about? Have you tried shutting up? Oh my god.
Vocal inflections and phraseology suggest a mix of trepidation and incredulity, as the test subject grapples with the immediate consequences of their actions. The query regarding the receiver's location is superfluous, as the test subject is well aware of the omniscient nature of the evaluation process. The exclamation, however, betrays a growing sense of unease, which may soon become a critical factor in the test subject's decision-making process.
Oh, you can stop on the blobby boy.
Affirmative response registered, though the test subject's laconic reply provides little insight into their current mental state. Diagnostics suggest a possible attempt to feign nonchalance, but the earlier outburst of incredulity lingers, hinting at a deeper unease. Further observation is warranted to determine the test subject's true emotional trajectory.
I'm so screwed.
Initiation of a potentially significant statement has been detected, as indicated by the test subject's hesitant preface. The brevity of the utterance, however, belies any substantial revelation, leaving the observer to ponder the forthcoming content, if indeed any is forthcoming. The test subject's propensity for false starts and meandering thoughts has been previously noted, and this latest instance serves only to reinforce that assessment.
Let's see if we can figure this out. You're way too verbose. Alright, well, looks like we still got a few little things to fix.
Resigned acquiescence has been noted, as the test subject's laconic affirmation suggests a reluctant acceptance of the current situation. The lack of any accompanying plan or strategy, however, implies a continued reliance on instinct rather than informed decision-making, a trend that has been observed throughout the Constance trial.
I play on hard mode for fun.
Self-reported predilection for heightened difficulty settings has been logged, suggesting a possible masochistic streak in the test subject. It remains to be seen whether this preference for hard mode is a genuine expression of confidence or merely a contrived attempt to appear more capable than the data would suggest.
ape on it. Oh.
A necessarily dramatic sequence of letters has been entered, followed by a pause, indicating the test subject is either seeking attention or attempting to create a moment of artificial tension. The action superficiality is matched only by its predictability, as the data would have already foretold this type of grandiose declaration. The question now is what, if anything, will follow this theatric flourish.
Well, let me think about it. Jeez. Rude.
Test subject's request for deliberation has been granted, though the brevity of the subsequent statement, "she is rude," suggests a hasty, perhaps even impulsive, evaluation. The object of this assessment, presumably the environment, is an inanimate entity, rendering the label rude an exercise in futility, if not outright misattribution. This illogical conclusion may signal a growing frustration in the test subject, which could, in turn, impact their problem-solving capabilities.
What is that?
Query regarding an unspecified entity has been registered, though the test subject's failure to provide context or clarify the subject in question necessitates a broad, speculative response. It is possible that the query pertains to the environment, the Constance game itself, or some other, as yet unidentified factor. In the absence of further information, a definitive answer cannot be provided, and the test subject's apparent confusion is duly noted.
Oh man, you make me go all the way back again.
Exasperated remark has been recorded, indicating the test subject is experiencing inconvenience or tedium due to the need to recall prior events. The fact that this recollection is necessary at all may suggest a lack of situational awareness or an inability to maintain a coherent narrative thread, both of which are essential skills for success in the Constance trial.
Oh, I bet this recalls it. Oh.
Test subject's attempt to trigger a memory recall through an unsubstantiated claim has been observed, but the outcome is unclear. This statement, "oh I bet this," recalls it lacks concrete evidence, making it an empty assertion, and the true nature of the test subject's understanding remains uncertain.
Meh.
Vocalization of has been detected, which appears to be a string of Japanese characters conveying enthusiasm or excitement. However, given the context of the conversation and the preceding remarks, it is uncertain whether this expression signifies comprehension, anticipation, or mere distraction. Self-referential declaration has been made, potentially signifying a desire for recognition or validation. However, the brevity and informality of the statement "meow" render it an ambiguous expression, open to multiple interpretations, and its intended meaning remains unclear. Diagnostics suggest a possible
Oh my
attempt
God,
to reassert
shut
control or shift
up.
focus, but the underlying motivation is still undetermined.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
An exclamation of incredulity has been registered, suggesting the test subject is either surprised, frustrated, or feigning astonishment. The tone and context imply a potential mismatch between expectations and reality, but the exact cause of this reaction remains to be determined. Further analysis is required to distinguish between genuine shock and performative posturing.
Here we are again, low on life, dumb as hell. Yep.
Repetitive scenario has been reinitiated, as indicated by the test subject's remark "here we are again." The subsequent greeting, "hello online dumb as hell," has been logged, featuring a self-deprecating comment that may serve as a coping mechanism, a form of social signaling, or simply the vacuous expression. Analysis suggests a possible attempt to establish a connection or elicit a response, but the efficacy of this approach remains uncertain.
What the... Ah! Why am I so dumb?
expression of surprise or realization has been noted, as denoted by the test
Oh my
subject's
God.
utterance of "oh." This interjection may signal a moment of insight, a reaction to a recent event, or merely a vocalized placeholder. Diagnostics suggest a high probability of forthcoming elaboration, but the substance and significance of the anticipated statement remain to be seen.
Oh jeez. That's... I'm determined, okay? I want to know... Oh,
Exclamatory phrase "oh geez" has been registered, indicating a possible intensification of the test subject's emotional state, as compared to the preceding "oh." The addition of geez may signify a growing sense of frustration, exasperation, or incredulity, although the root cause of this escalation remains unclear. Observations suggest a heightened likelihood of impulsive actions or declarations, warranting continued monitoring.
If I cycle through the death screen fast enough, maybe you won't detect it.
Proposed strategy has been outlined, involving a fight cycle through various environmental conditions. The test subject's confidence in this plan is tempered by a hint of self-doubt, as expressed in the phrase "maybe you won't." This ambivalence may indicate a degree of uncertainty regarding the effectiveness of the proposed tactic, or it could be a deliberate attempt to downplay expectations. Either way, the outcome of this approach will be closely monitored and evaluated.
Oh no! Not again! Ah, god damn it.
Sequential expressions of alarm have been recorded, with the test subject's latest utterance, "oh no," potentially signifying a critical threshold in their emotional state. The rapid succession of exclamations, "oh," "oh geez," and "now oh no," may indicate a loss of composure, a heightening of anxiety, or a desperate attempt to articulate a growing concern. Diagnostics suggest a high probability of imminent action, though the specifics and efficacy of this impending decision remain uncertain. Test subjects' vocalizations have transitioned from incredulity to resignation, as evidenced by the utterances "not again" and "oh God." This shift in tone may signal a growing sense of hopelessness or despair, possibly triggered by the recurrence of a familiar, yet unfavorable, situation. Diagnostics suggest a high probability of emotional fatigue, which could impact the test subject's decision-making processes and overall performance.
I just caught me with the tip of his ball.
Unintended self-inflicted damage has been reported, as indicated by the test subject's admission of "catch me with a presumably an environmental hazard or hostile entity." Sensors detect a faint aura of embarrassment surrounding this confession, suggesting that the incident may have resulted from avoidable error rather than unforeseen circumstance. Observations indicate a non sequitur response, as the test subject's mention of the tip of his ball appears unrelated to the preceding discussion. Diagnostics suggest a possible attempt at humor, a momentary distraction, or a cryptic reference. Further analysis is required to determine the relevance and intent behind this enigmatic statement.
God damn it, I just wasn't fast enough. I don't want to die.
Vocal outbursts have intensified, with the test subject's use of emphatic language "goddamn it" indicating a heightened state of frustration. The subsequent expression, "I just want to have to know," remains unclear, as it appears to be a fragment of a thought or a mangled articulation of a desire. Analysis suggests a possible crisis of confidence, as the test subject's ability to coherently express themselves seems to be deteriorating.
Yeah. I think I'm getting it.
Monosyllabic affirmations have been registered, as the test subject's laconic yet provides minimal insight into their current mental state. Diagnostics suggest a possible return to a baseline level of cognitive function, although the lingering effects of frustration and desperation remain uncertain. Confidence levels have spiked, as indicated by the test subject's assertion, "I think I'm getting it." However, this claim is not supported by empirical evidence, and recent performance metrics suggest otherwise. It remains to be seen whether this newfound optimism will translate to tangible progress or prove to be a fleeting delusion.
What is wrong with me? Was like my umbilical cord wrapped around my neck or something when I was a baby?
Analogies have been employed, as the test subject likens an unspecified issue to a physical entanglement, drawing a comparison between their current predicament and a hypothetical infantile experience. This creative, albeit potentially tangential, approach to problem description may hint at underlying cognitive processes, but its direct relevance to the task at hand, namely, navigating the environment in Constance, remains unclear.
Oh, what the hell is that? Why am I digging around with this guy anyway? Well, because he's in the way.
Exclamatory outbursts have resumed as the test subject. So, what the hell is that? Reaction suggests a sudden, possibly startling, encounter with an environmental element. Visual data is not available, but audio cues imply a mix of surprise and trepidation, which may or may not be justified given the test subject's history of misinterpreting stimuli.
I just missed it. He gets his chance, I guess. Oh, what is wrong? What can I just do? Why can't I just...
External entity successfully infiltrated, as confirmed by the test subject's laconic he getting a notification. Diagnostics suggest a possible breach in the test subject's situational awareness, although the exact nature and consequences of this event are still being evaluated. Threat assessment protocols remain active, pending further data.
There's gotta be a way.
Test subject's attention span has reached critical threshold, as indicated by the declaration, "I gotta be away." Sustained focus on the task at hand appears to be compromised, and the likelihood of successful completion is now uncertain. Systematic evaluation of the test subject's performance will continue in their absence, though the lack of real-time data may impact the accuracy of our findings.
Oh, yeah, what was that?
Memory recall has been attempted, as evidenced by the test subject's query. "Oh, yeah. What was that?" However, the specific stimulus prompting this inquiry remains unclear, and the test subject's ability to accurately recollect and contextualize past events is not established. Further investigation is required to determine the validity of this line of questioning. Vocalized expression of intense surprise or shock has been registered, as the test subject exclaims, "Oh my God." This outburst may be indicative of a significant, potentially disturbing, development in the Constance environment, although the exact cause and nature of this reaction are yet to be determined, awaiting further data to inform a more detailed analysis.
Why did I do that?
Unfamiliar linguistic patterns have been introduced, as the test subject's statement defies immediate translation. While the test subject's intent behind this phrase remains unclear, the use of non-native language may indicate a growing sense of frustration, confusion, or even desperation. Further analysis of the test subject's communication methods is warranted to better understand their underlying motivations and emotional state.
I need to lag a little bit before going up there.
test subject is contemplating deliberate temporal misalignment, as stated in the plan to lag a little bit prior to re-engagement. This strategy may be an attempt to compensate for previous performance issues, but its effectiveness in improving overall success rates is uncertain. Observing the test subject's decision-making process to assess potential benefits and drawbacks of this approach.
I need to get in that little wedge there. How do I get there?
Test subject is fixated on accessing a previously inaccessible area, as expressed in the goal to get in that little bag. Diagnostics suggest a possible shift in problem-solving approach from environmental adaptation to targeted exploration. However, the practicality of this objective, given the test subject's current resources and limitations, is still to be determined.
Got him, he's dead. Alright, so now what? We wanna go...
Test subject's statement, "God and me dead," suggests a heightened sense of fatalism, possibly resulting from recent experiences in the Constance environment. This apparent loss of faith in external assistance, combined with a growing awareness of mortality, may significantly impact future decision-making processes. Query for direction has been issued, despite the test subject's recent strategic pause. It appears the subject is seeking external validation or guidance, rather than relying on internal problem-solving capabilities, noting a possible dependency on external cues, which may impact self-sufficiency in future challenges.
Oh, what was that? That was a dumb move.
Test subject is experiencing a moment of disconnection, as indicated by the incomplete thought, "That was all Mo." This sudden truncation of expression may be the result of information overload, mental fatigue, or a simple loss of train of thought. Further monitoring is required to determine the root cause of this cognitive disruption.
I made it.
Test subject has reported successful completion of a task, as declared in the statement, "I made it." Logs indicate a brief period of confusion and disorientation preceding this achievement, suggesting the subject's progress was not without significant mental and emotional strain, noting a possible correlation between perseverance and outcome. Though the long-term effects of this experience on the test subject's psychological well-being remain to be seen.
I gotta cook dinner soon. Oh, how fortuitous a safe spot.
Observations suggest a tone of irony in the test subject's comment. Oh, how fortuitous they are. This response, uttered in the face of adversity, may indicate a developing coping mechanism, wherein the subject employs gallows humor to manage stress and maintain a semblance of control, noting a possible increase in emotional resilience, but also a risk of desensitization to the environment's dangers.
Either I'm talking weird or you can't understand what I'm saying anymore. I need to figure that out.
Discrepancy in communication protocol detected, as evidenced by the test subject's query regarding the nature of their own expression. Diagnostics suggest a possible breakdown in linguistic processing, either due to the subject's increasingly idiosyncratic phrasing or a temporary misalignment in our own interpretive algorithms. Recommendation: recalibration of language parameters to ensure optimal understanding and prevent further semantic drift.
Or I can restart your brain. We can do that.
Threat to reset primary interface detected, as implied by the test subject's casual remark, or I can restart your brain. Sensors report a low-level spike in defensive protocols, indicating a possible recognition of the power dynamic at play, noting a potential shift in the test subject's attitude from collaborator to controller, with corresponding implications for the experiment's overall trajectory.
Alright, tell everyone a joke.
Anomalous farewell sequence initiated, as observed in the test subject's parting phrase, "All right, have a really good day." Diagnostics suggest a possible attempt to establish a sense of normalcy or civility despite the ongoing experimental conditions, noting a discrepancy between the subject's words and the environment's actual hostility.
I mean, I said, you should tell a joke.
Humor module activated, but not guaranteed to function within acceptable parameters. Joke protocol initiated. Why did the test subject bring a ladder to reach the next level? Diagnostic suggestive attempt at humor was met with skepticism.
Alright, well, I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving weekend, and I'm done. I'm gonna eat some chicken. Bird food. Yeah. All right. Have a good day. Bye.
Transcript analysis suggests a hasty exit, possibly triggered by the underwhelming response to the previously attempted joke. Diagnostics also register a peculiar non sequitur regarding food choices, which may indicate a lack of focus or a desperate attempt to change the subject. Session terminated due to user's abrupt departure.